Hey there, my name is Nevin with Pisco Education, and today we're going to be building the T-Bot 2 hydraulic arm. Spread out on the table in front of me are the different materials you'll need to build the T-Bot 2. Included in the kit are 8 3/8-inch screws, 2 1/2-inch screws, a resealable plastic bag, 10 wooden dowel rods, 4 basswood sheets with die-cut parts, 2 nylon spacers, a rubber band, a precision straw, 8 syringes, hook and loop fastener, 2 O-rings, and 8 feet of tubing. You'll also need white glue, a Phillips head screwdriver, scissors, a Cool Melt glue gun and a glue slug, a base to mount the T-Bot on, a ruler, and a cup for water. To prepare to build our T-Bot 2, first thing you need to do is pop out all the die-cut parts. As you pop out some of the pieces, make sure that you're popping out some of the smaller holes within the pieces. So after you've popped all of the die-cut pieces out and you've gotten all the little pegs that were filling the holes out, you can discard everything that is not labeled. Now once all your pieces are popped out, you can take them and put them in the resealable plastic bag just so you don't lose any. So next we're going to take this 8 foot of clear tubing and we're going to cut it into 2-foot sections. You want to measure off the sections with a ruler, and it doesn't have to be exact, just has to be close enough. And after you've cut one, you can just use that to cut the rest of them instead of measuring each time. So these are the tubing for the liquid to go in between the syringes. You're gonna have 2 syringes set up between each of these tubings, and the water will flow through, and that's where the hydraulic power for the robot arm is going to come from. Next, we're going to cut our hook and loop fastener into just 2 even pieces. This is going to be used to mount the T-Bot to our base. Cut it right in the middle. Now we're going to pop out all of our syringes, which is what we will be filling with water later. Now we're going to be cutting up the precision straw into 7 different lengths, which will be used as bearings in between the dowel rods when you start building the T-Bot. So the first length that we're going to cut is the 3 1-inch pieces. And again, after you cut one, you can just kind of use that. Cut the 2 3/4-inch pieces. Now we're going to cut 1 7/8-inch piece. Finally, we're going to cut 1 1¼ inch piece. Now that we've cut all of our pieces, we're ready to start building our T-Bot 2. So now we're going to begin building the platform. Pull out these parts from your plastic bag. You need a B, A, M, A, R, and H part. You'll also need a 1 1/2-inch dowel rod and a 1 3/4-inch dowel rod, the 2 pieces of the hook and loop fastener that we cut, scissors, and white glue. Now what you're going to do is you're going to glue the A and MA and H to the bottom of part B. I'm going to start with the MA, then just put glue on the MA and then press it down onto the bottom of B. Make sure that you're lining the holes up. Now we're going to glue the A piece to the bottom of B. And then you'll want to glue H to the bottom of B. Both M, A, and H have holes that need to line up with the bottom of B. After gluing, turn B over, and now we're going to glue R and the 1 1/2 dowel rod into the corner hole. Next, we're going to take the 1 3/4 dowel rod and put it into the center hole on B. After you've inserted both the dowel rods, flip it over and take your hook and loop fasteners and peel one side and attach one hook and loop fastener to A and MA. Once you've finished putting the hook and loop fasteners onto the bottom of B, you're finished building the platform. Now that we've built our platform, we need to start building our swivel base. You'll need these parts from your plastic bag: a D, MD, G, R, 2 Fs, a C, a 1 1/8 inch dowel rod, a 7/8 inch straw piece, scissors, and glue. First thing we're going to want to do is to glue the 2 F pieces into the slots on the D piece. So put some glue into the corners on the F piece. After gluing the F piece, slide it into one of the slots on D, and then repeat it for the other F piece. Now place glue on the other side of the F pieces. And attach the MD to the other side. The Fs go in the same slot on MD as they do on D. Make sure to hold the pieces in place because the glue needs a little bit of time to dry, and you don't want it sliding out. So after you've glued the D and MD pieces together with the 2 Fs, put glue on these bottom legs, and we're going to place it in the C piece. Now after you put the pieces in, just press down on it and let the glue dry a little bit. Next, you're going to place the 7/8 inch piece of straw into the hole on F and C. So the bottom F piece, you just slide the straw in, and it should slide right into the C hole under it. When it's in, you want to make sure that it's flush with both the bottom and F, and there's not any excess sticking out on either side. Now you're going to glue an R piece onto the bottom of G and line up the holes like we did with the other pieces. Once you've got the G and R pieces glued together, let them dry for a few minutes, and then you can put your dowel rod through. Take the 1 1/8 inch dowel rod and insert it into G until it's flush with the other side where R is. Now the last part of the swivel base is gluing the G piece to the MD and C platform that you've built. The MD side has an etch on it that you're going to line up with the edge of the G piece. I would take the glue and put it just on the C platform in that area and along the edge of the C and MD. And then just get the G right on there. Now we're going to do a super quick step, which is just building the mid-arm. So from your plastic bag, we need 2 I pieces and 2 J pieces, and then you'll also need the glue. Take one of your J pieces and glue the corner of it, and then put it into one of the slots on the I piece. And repeat that for the other J piece. When you've inserted both the J pieces, then you can just glue the other side of the J pieces. The gluing process for this is similar to the swivel base that we just did. And after you've glued the other side of the J pieces, then just put the I piece on top. Our next step is building the forearm. So from your plastic bag, we need these pieces: a K and MK, P, Z, and 2 L's. First thing we're going to do is put the 2 L's into the K piece. So glue one side of the L in the corners and place it into one of the slots on the K piece. Do that for the next L piece. And then glue the other side of the L pieces. And place the MK on that other side. Now we're going to place part P on the back side of the forearm, which is behind the eyeballs. So just glue this back side. And now glue the Z piece on the front side of the forearm in front of the eyeballs. Now we're ready to start building the syringe assemblies. So from your plastic bag, you're going to need an M part, 3 Q parts, 3 U parts, 4 syringes, and all of the remaining straw pieces. You will also need a cool melt glue gun. First thing we're going to do is place an M piece on the back of a plunger, like so, and glue it into place. Be careful not to put on too much glue, or you may have trouble attaching other parts later on. Take the other 3 syringes and glue a U onto each plunger. It's going to be on the back side. You're going to glue it right in the middle of the circle piece. Now we're going to glue a Q onto each of the syringe assemblies that we've attached a U on. You want to put it near the front to where the notch on the Q is hanging over next to the nozzle on the syringe, and you want to center it. Now we're going to start placing straws in the syringe assemblies that we created. The straws will go into the holes on part Q and part U. The first syringe we're going to be doing this for is for the mid-arm syringe. On the U part at the back, you're going to put one of the 1-inch straws through and make sure it's centered, and then put a little bit of glue to hold it into place. Not too much, you don't want to melt the straw, just enough to where it holds it snug. Next, in the Q hole, you're going to put the 1 1/4 inch straw, center it, and then glue it in place. The next 2 syringe assemblies will use the 3/4 and the 1-inch straws. So the 3/4 straw will go in the back in the U hole. You center it and then glue. And then the 1-inch will go in the Q hole. You'll center it and then glue. Repeat that for the remaining syringe. Now we're going to begin attaching the grippers. So from your plastic bag, you need to grab 2 O pieces, 2 N pieces, 2 V's, 2 W's, 2 O-rings, 2 nylon spacers, 2 1/2-inch screws, and 6 3/8-inch screws. You'll also need the forearm piece that we made earlier, the gripper syringe with the M piece that we made earlier, a Phillips screwdriver, and your cool melt glue. First thing we're going to do is take the N piece and from the wide end, put it under the M section on your gripper syringe, and then take a 3/8-inch screw and put it in from the top and then secure them with the Phillips head screwdriver. After you put one in, do the same with the other end piece. When you're done, it'll look kind of like a Y shape. All right, next we're going to take a W piece and we're going to place the O-ring around it. Then you take a V piece and put it on top so that the holes line up. Take one of the 1/2-inch screws and put it through that hole so that the head is on top. And then take an O piece and on the hooked end, put the V, W, and the 1/2-inch screw and O-ring in that end. So it should go 1/2-inch screw, V piece, the O-ring with the W, and then the O piece. So after you've done this for one O piece, you just take the other one and do the same thing. So after you've made both of them, it should look like this. Next, we're going to take the gripper pieces that we just made and attach them to the forearm. This side of the forearm has 2 holes in it, and that's where you're going to put the gripper pieces that we just made. So take the O piece, put it over the hole, make sure you line the holes up. Then take one of the 3/8-inch screws and place it through the holes. You'll probably need to use a Phillips screwdriver to tighten that in there. Do the same thing for the other side. Afterwards, it should look like this. Now we're going to take the Y piece, which is the syringe that we attached pieces to earlier, and we're going to place it in the slot on the back of the forearm. So the lip on the syringe should just fit into the slot. After you've put the syringe onto the forearm, take one of the nylon spacers and put it at the end of the Y piece and at the hole that's remaining on the O piece. Place one of the 3/8-inch screws into the hole and then just tighten it down. Repeat this for the other side. After you have all the pieces on the forearm, take some cool melt glue and glue on both sides of the syringe. And now we've made our gripper. Now we're going to begin connecting the bottom half of our T-Bot. So what you need from your plastic bag are 8 R pieces, 2 2-inch dowel rods, 1 1 3/4-inch dowel rod. Then you'll also need the mid-arm, the platform base, the swivel base, and the mid-arm syringe and the swivel base syringe. You will also need a thing of white glue. The first thing we're going to do is take the swivel base and put it on the dowel rod within the circle on the platform. And after you have the swivel base on there, take one of the R pieces and put it over the center dowel rod. Once you have the R piece secured on the dowel rod, put some white glue on top of the R piece. Take the swivel base syringe and the U end goes on the swivel base over the dowel rod, and the Q end goes on the platform dowel rod. After you have the syringe over the dowel rods, take 2 R pieces and secure it over the dowel rods. After you have the R pieces over the dowel rods, secure them with white glue. Now we're going to attach the mid-arm syringe to the swivel base. So take the Q end and line it up with the middle holes on the swivel base and secure it with a 2-inch dowel rod. take two R pieces and secure it on each end of the dowel rod. Make sure it's not rubbing against the swivel base. Take some white glue and put a dab on the R piece so that it secures it to the dowel rod. Do this for both of the R pieces. Now take the mid-arm and with the curve facing down, secure one end to the top of the swivel base with a 2-inch dowel rod. Take two R pieces and secure them to the 2-inch dowel rod. Again, make sure that the R pieces aren't actually touching the swivel base. Put some glue on the R piece to secure it to the dowel rod. Take the hole on the U end of the mid-arm syringe and line it up with the hole on the mid-arm closest to the swivel base. Secure it with a 1 3/4 inch dowel rod. Secure the dowel rod with two R pieces. Make sure the R pieces are not touching the actual mid-arm, and then secure it with some white glue. Now we're going to be connecting the top half of the T-Bot. From your plastic bag, you're going to need two Y pieces, two X pieces, 6 R pieces, one 2-inch dowel rod, two 1 3/4 inch dowel rods. You'll also need the forearm and gripper that we made earlier, the forearm syringe, white glue, a Phillips head screwdriver, the T-Bot that we've been building up till now, and a base to put the T-Bot on. Now take the forearm and gripper and line up the hole behind the eyeball on the top hole with the mid-arm and secure it with a 1 3/4 inch dowel rod. Once you have the dowel rod through, secure it with two R pieces. Make sure the R pieces aren't actually touching the mid-arm and then glue the R pieces to the dowel rods. Take the forearm syringe and place the Q part over the only remaining hole on the mid-arm, and then secure it with a 2-inch dowel rod. Now take the two X pieces and place the hole on the wide end over the dowel rods you just put in on the outside of the mid-arm. Secure the dowel rod with two R pieces and make sure it's not rubbing the two X pieces that you just put on. Secure the two R pieces with some white glue on each side. Now take the U end of the forearm syringe and line it up with the last remaining hole on the forearm, which is right in front of the eyeballs. Secure it with a 1 3/4 inch dowel rod. Now take the two Y pieces and the ends that have a notch, place them over the ends of the dowel rod on the forearm. Take two R pieces and secure the ends of the dowel rod. Make sure that the R pieces are not touching the Y pieces you just put on. Put some glue on the two R pieces to secure them to the dowel rod. Now line up the holes on your X and Y pieces and secure them with a 3/8 inch screw. Make sure that the Y piece is on the inside and the X piece is on the outside. Secure the screw with a Phillips head screwdriver. Repeat this step for the other side. Take your constructed T-Bot and remove the backing from the hook and loop fasteners on the bottom side. Got it. With the backing removed, take the T-Bot and place it on one end of your base. So now we're going to begin filling the syringes. So from your bag, you need the 4 pieces of tubing that we cut and the 4 syringes. You will also need a cup of water. First thing you want to do is press all the air out of one of the syringes, then place that syringe in the cup of water and draw the water out until the syringe is full. Take one of the pieces of tubing and place it over the end of the syringe. Depress the plunger on the syringe until the tubing is full. Then place the other end of the tubing in the water and draw out the water until the syringe and the tubing are full. Take the other end of the tubing and attach it to one of the syringes on the T-Bot. Make sure that syringe is completely empty of air. Once you have the tubing attached, push water into the syringe on the T-Bot. Now repeat this for each of the syringes on the T-Bot. As you can see, each one of these syringes moves a certain part of the T-Bot. One of the ways that you could keep track of which syringe moves which part is using food coloring for the water, so that each one of the syringes is a different color. Now we're going to build the syringe holder. For this, you're going to need the following materials: 3 S pieces, 2 T pieces, 1 rubber band, 1 wooden dowel rod, and a cool melt glue gun. First thing we're going to do is take the dowel rod and slide all of the S pieces onto the dowel rod. You want it so that 2 of the S pieces are about 1/4 of an inch away from the end, and the S piece in the middle is 1/4 of the inch away from the other S piece. So it'll look something like this. Now we're going to take the 2 T pieces and place them on each end of the dowel rod to secure the S pieces in place. After you've placed the 2 T pieces on each end, put a dab of cool melt glue on each of the T pieces. Now we're going to place the syringes in the syringe holders. What you're going to do is take the syringe and make sure that the lip of the syringe is between the 1/4 gap for the S pieces. Then just place the rest of the syringes into the holder. Hold the syringes in place with your hand until you get the rubber band placed around the syringe holder. After all the syringes are in, take the rubber band and place it around the middle. Now that we've finally finished building our T-Bot and the syringe holder, you can test out your robot. For more videos, like activities and real-world connections, check out our website at pitsco.com.